Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a video all about revive farming. So I'm on my lunch break. As a lot of you know, like things seem to happen when last night I decided to take a bit of a break. Me and Em went out to the pub, had some dinner, and I thought, oh, this is great, nice relaxed time. I'll come back, do the side quest video, and then all of a sudden, stuff happens. What is this stuff happening? And by the way, it is freezing, so I am going to keep this hood on. It's snowing outside in the UK, and that I will maybe show some footage over the top of this. So I've got to get to talking about this, covering about this, because this is a bit of a not a weird situation, because I think a lot of us knew this was going to come in any case. So this thread started off yesterday, or late yesterday, whenever. Toprola says, it's been brought to my attention that quite a few members of the community are noticing less revives appearing in the Act 5 quests that were so popular as of late. Could this be a shadow nerf we are witnessing, or are Kabam in fact providing us with secret windows during which we were able to amass those revives to help us with some of the long-term content, namely Necropolis, that has just come out? If anybody doesn't know, over the last time Kabam did like a nerf of these particular things, they did say that they'll be looking at a lot of the lower base content, and if people were abusing this in some sort of shape or form, then of course then it Kabam would take action. They have, they will, and of course they have been watching. One thing that I have tried not to do is when I've done videos, most recently when I did the how to free to play prep farming potions, units, boost. That's obviously talking about revives. I've made sure that in that particular description, when I've been talking about some of these things and when I've been going into great areas, is not to advertise the areas in question. So even on this part here, revive and potion farming, apothecary, coming up with some theorizations of things and other stuff, I've tried to be very careful about mentioning areas within it, mainly because I knew something like this would happen. Of course, I've seen a lot of content creators. I've got better things to do in my time than to fall out with people about how they not advertise. Yeah, it's kind of some ways advertising different areas, because again, the more people that you bring to know about these things, the more that it's going to get. Well, I'd say abused, because look, here's the thing. It's in the game. It's in the game that revives pop back up again. But let's face it, if Kabam are now on the radar of it, then of course we've got to adapt, and it's just another area that Kabam will be looking at to nerf down the line. But of course, this is something that we've got to be very wary of anytime something like this happens. I'm not saying keep it to yourself. It's important to share this information. But I've even seen it weeks and weeks and weeks ago that people were indeed kind of going down this process, this line of going, go to this particular content, you will get repeated repeated energy refills. Reinvest those energy refills into grabbing revives. Rinse and repeat with the methodology with it, which causes a problem. It's cause and effect, and the cause and the effect now has got more kind of like effect to it, and it's super effective. It's super effective, and obviously taking away from it. But the reason that this particular thread did the number is that it was then it's a case of going. Then someone was like, "You think Kabam employees bother reading most of the dribble on here?" Like, Kabam know a lot about the threads. Sometimes they won't answer against the thread, and they'll instead, like, sometimes there's lots of comments that I get in videos and I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be better to be addressed in a topic. People say, Rich, you're going to make a video on this, and a lot of the time it will be a case of already had an idea to make the video on the topic. If comments goes, right, okay, Rich, I'd like to see this. Oh, I don't think you addressed this in this particular way. It's like, okay, fine, I'll take that on board. But at the same time, I will choose to either create it into content. If the video's scuffed and there's a broken bit in the video, I can't redo the video. I'll have to kind of like go, right, I'll either try and edit it out, or it's a case of going, well, I'll address that in a different video or talk about it in a different way. Like, we'll take a topic and talk about it in the MCN. That's how kind of like, people would kind of like Kabam were kind of going. It's like, okay, people talk about stuff on the forums. There's lots of threads. But if there's no substance to it, then they won't answer against it. Or a lot of time, Jax, Mike will be kind of taking that information to the game team and asking the questions and getting answers. Because a lot of the time it will be a case that's what they're, it's, as I said, that's their literally, the job to do that as a community manager with it. But of course, like, it does bring on to, you know, I mean, I'm sure you guys had already known about it. Don't give the troll the recognition he's craving, thinking he's reason. Yeah, you are correct. We use the power of data. So look, as I've said, like, the more that people talk about certain areas, and the more that, and again, I'm not kind of getting at people, content creators, because at the end of the day, it's up to you how you run your channel and how you kind of choose to advertise these areas of kind of getting stuff back. But, and you know, I've done it in the past. You know, I was advertising 3.2.6, but I had to make that decision to go, look, let's try and at least say, and I did actually mention it. If anybody is astute, I did actually like kind of a flippant comment in the last kind of like 24 to 48 hours, but I'm not kind of making a big thing of making a big advertisement point for it, because you've got to be very careful, because people will, you know, do it. Anyway, right, okay, I've dribbled on. Let's get to the kind of, dribbled on, that's a weird thing to say. But yeah, let's go to the point, okay? We have said officially many times that we do not make silent nerfs. Sure, occasionally mistakes are made, but we try to communicate in a timely fashion. When that happens, we do not flippantly make substantial changes to the game that negatively impact players without telling them in some capacity. So, that's kind of given like a, no, we haven't changed anything. And we jump to this particular segment here. Since we've discussed not silent nerfing and data collection on the subject here, I feel this might be a good time to point out this into the battle realm. Put this out into the background. These early act revive farms will be nerfed. As we have discussed in the past, this has to happen. It is inevitable. I am inevitable. There's a line in that. This is not the result of people posting in the forums. This is the result of looking at the data and the impact these types of things have on the contest as a whole. That being said, the timeline for this looks like it should land in early January, and likely before the final cutoff of the Road to the Crypt Necropolis event. So I anticipate most of you will have the free time in December. I'm not going to tell you how to use it, but you are now equipped to make informed decisions. And I think that's actually quite good from Jack to actually say that, because at the end of the day, Kabam could actually nerf it. Instead, what they've done is they've given you a 1 month warning on it. So look, as much as, like, you know, we kind of like, you know, diss Kabam and kind of have stuff to say about Kabam, like they have gone out of their way to kind of like at least forewarn you of the impending doom. Not Doctor Doom, not I Doom, but just it's not really Doom. At the end of the day, like, I was planning to approach this as the Necropolis as not farming any of these revives, and strictly kind of you know, farming by the means of like what I've learned over the last few weeks and months, which, you know, as I said, I haven't mentioned it I haven't certainly put a thumbnail on it. I haven't kind of done YouTube videos on it. I've definitely seen channels kind of covering it. And of course, it's something where the more people know about it, the more it's going to be nerfed. I don't want to kind of, you know, repeat myself over matters of this. But it's kind of like, at least you've got that 1 month notice, and, you know, it's annoying. It's annoying that this obviously happens the way it is. Does it need to happen? Of course it does. Look, for the future, I think people got to be very careful about how they go about advertising things to other people, how much they share things, because at the end of the day, if there's going to be people out there that go, oh, this was a great resource for grabbing, you know, revives, health potions, energy refills, whatever, then, of course, in the future, you're going to have to think about different means, which could mean, you know, instead of you going to a particular piece of content to farm 100 revives, instead what you're doing is you could be doing stash management. There is obviously a new way of doing stash management, which, I mean, I'll give you a good example with this. You can roll with, I think it's like a 6-day reward, sitting in rewards type method, where if you go and collect solo events, you can have them kind of sitting in, you know, the reward bit right here, which allows you to grab an extra 6 level 2 revives. It's not like an extra edition, but what it could say is like, okay, well, if your stash has X amount, you can out hold X amount more, especially if you're, you know, non-spending, you got to do stash management, mustache management. But it's not means to an end. Instead, you'll probably have to go and farm 4,000 extra units to cover maybe the revives that you may or may not use. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, there's going to be people skilled that won't really care too much about this. There's going to be people slightly averagely skilled. So I keep looking to the right because there's massive flakes of snow, and it's beautiful. It's Christmas spirit. But yeah, I'm not letting this kind of like sink my particular feeling at the moment, because I'm really looking forward to next month. I'm looking forward to kind of allocating more time to do more Battlegrounds. I'm looking to rank up my my Shuri as well as a few other champions and get them really strong for Necropolis. I'm looking forward to getting into Necropolis. I'm looking forward to the Banquet Event. I'm looking forward to a lot of things in MCOC at the moment, and I'm not going to let something like this kind of like dampen my spirits, because it doesn't really feel like it has. Especially, as I said, like I'm very much a case of farming the units in order to go into Battlegrounds, into Necropolis, to help myself out if things go bad. So this doesn't and hasn't really felt like it's affected me, but I understand where people are, you know, coming from, that, you know, like this. But at least if you are looking to do Necropolis, you have an opportunity now. Further endgame content being a problem without, you know, something of a refarmable area could be an issue, but the thing is, we won't know. I said last time, I said that when we had the Apothecary put in and 3.2.6 revives nerfed, we won't know until a new piece of endgame content comes in what kind of impact it will have. However, though, there was still a place, which is, you know, the locations like 5.3.6, 5.4.6, which is the new one, where you can do exactly the same. So we're at the stage, again, prior to the Apothecary. We don't know of the impact to certain players that use these methods, because people are still using the same methods prior to Apothecary. So we haven't really found in, what is it, a year? I'd say a year. We'll go with a year. The impact from these particular events. And anyway, I just want to end on this, you know, as Cam says, you know, and as I mentioned just a moment ago, 5.4.6, you know, getting those revives. I would say as well, look out for, and we'll talk about this later date, probably trade in store for the birthday, maybe from Kabam. We'll have to cover some of the info and information on tomorrow's live stream that Kabam are doing. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. What are your thoughts on this particular matter? Put it in the comment section down below. Check out some other content which will be on screen right now. And yeah, I've got to get back to work in about 10 minutes. I've got 10 minutes to kind of get this video wrapped up and scheduled in for later on. Have a lovely day, everybody. Bye-bye for now.